Are we really happy here with this lonely game we play? Looking for words to say. Searching but not finding.
I get a great story about that.
Understanding
I just love how the strings sneak in.
Yeah, Klaus.
That's why I love that.
Lost in a masquerade.
You can do a slow fade on that. Okay. Okay.
You got a minute? I got some stories I can tell you about that record.
Yes, please.
How much time do we have?
We got some time.
We did the tracks all at Capitol, and I had the drums in the middle of the room and some gobos around them, and then the piano and the bass and the percussion and the other electric guitar and George all sitting around the drums. I mean, they were really tight. And we did 8 songs. And of the 8 songs, 6 were the first take. And so we get ready to do this song. And, okay, we're going to do the vocal now because everything else is instrumental. And I look around, and there was a mic called the 666. You know that electric voice mic?
Yes.
Little cheap mic, I guess, $80. So I stick it on George. Figure we'll overdub the vocal later and, get a good sound, but, because of all the leakage and whatever. Well, that's it. And the performance was so good, they wouldn't, change mics.
Are you telling me
They would let me-
you sacrificed technology for performance?
Yes, I did. But but the funny thing was that the next album I did with him, I had a great 47 or something. He wanted that same cheap microphone. That was his lucky mic. But we get the tracks done, and now Tommy and I go over to Munich to put the strings on with Klaus Ogerman. And the tapes are at 30 IPS, and we get over there, and gorgeous studio, great Neumann console, and they're doing a symphony thing, and we're kind of watching, because we're going to be in the evening. And I'm thinking, boy, this place is great. And I look over at the tape machine, and it was a Neumann tape machine, I think it was. It was a very unusual tape machine. And I look over, and it's going 15 IPS. And then I walk over further, and it's 15 or 7.5. And our tapes are at 30. So they can't get a motor to change. They can't get another machine in or anything else. So we got the full orchestra booked. So Giorgio Moroder, if you know who he is, he was the guy that started disco.
And produced all the Donna Summer records.
Yeah, and he's the guy, he's responsible for the disco sound. He had a little studio in Munich, and Klaus knew him. Klaus called him and asked if we could use his room. He was just doing some editing. So he said, sure, come on. So we went over there. Well, you could touch the ceiling if you went on your tiptoes. That's how low it was.
You had to do strings?
And we're doing full orchestra. The basses, there were 3 basses. They were so close together in a corner, like they were playing like this. The tape machine had 1 meter, and I would have to switch to see what the input was on each one, plus doing all this. We work till 5 in the morning, and we get 3 songs done, and they can't work anymore. They're just done, beat. So we don't want to go back there, so we decide we'll try to get into Abbey Road in London. So we call up and they can take us on Sunday. So we book the studio and we book the musicians or the contractor to get the musicians.
That's a short period of time to get that done too.
Klaus does his thing and Tommy looks at me and I look at him. Tommy said, "You ever been to Paris?" I said, "No." "Do you want to go?" I said, "Sure." We went to Paris. We didn't sleep. We stayed up 3 days. We were drinking in those days, and we just boogied in Paris. We went all over to all the clubs. But we had a driver. We hired this driver to take us around all the time. And he spoke, he was from Italy, believe it or not. He spoke Italian, English, and French. And Tommy spoke some Italian. But we took him into, every time we'd book a 3-star restaurant, we would take the driver in with us because we didn't know how to order off the thing. So this guy was eating like a king, you know. So anyway, then we go to London, Abbey Road. We do the thing there. We get on the plane, we're coming home. We're just about to land, and the fog comes in California, and the plane diverts to Las Vegas. And that's the worst thing you could do to Tommy and I, because now we're in Vegas, we're supposed to be home. We're drinking and playing, gambling and all this. And then they're supposed to call us in the morning to get us up, and they didn't. We put the tapes in a locker and locked it at the airport. So now we're just barely going to make our plane, and we figured that where the locker was, that's where the plane landed, you know, that's where it would leave. Right. Well, the airport's a big thing like this. We landed here. Well, the plane was taking off here, so we had to go grab these tapes. And Tommy, you know, he's got a bad leg and all, and I've got these tapes, and we're running to try to get the gate. We finally made it through and got home. We mixed the record's done, and the next thing I know, somebody says to me, you know, you're going to be nominated for a Grammy on Friesen. I said, "You're kidding?" "Yeah, you got nominated." I said, "Even with the string sound?" No, because 3 of them, I mean, there was in a tiny room. The first nomination I got was for Breakfast at Tiffany. And everybody said, "Oh, you're going to win, you're going to win, you're going to win." And I lost. And I lost to Judy Garland at Carnegie Hall, a live recording. The following year, I did Hatari, and nobody said you're going to win. I didn't think there was a chance or anything else. And that was my first Grammy. That was in '62.
Wow.
So I think altogether I've been nominated, I don't know, maybe 42 times or something like that. And I have 19 Grammys now.